Hi there, I'm Phoebe Soto, and I am learning tarot through the study of symbology and learning symbology through the study of tarot. So I've been reading tarot now for several years. I got my first oracle deck years and years and years ago, and I've just slowly made my way. And I'm just now at the point where I'm trying to come out of my shell and actually share what I'm learning, and also use some of this content as a way to motivate myself to remember to share and study and have a place where I share what I've learned. So I have found that it comes down to so much more than just learning symbols, which is what I started with. I've been fascinated by the concept of symbology since I read the Da Vinci Code like 20 years ago, and Robert Langdon was a symbologist, and I thought, oh, that's what I want to do. And then I even became an art history major, which I try to use as much of that knowledge to inform this as possible. But I have learned that there's just so much more than just memorizing a whole bunch of symbols. For instance, so what I usually ask for is just general guidance. I didn't quite ask for like a specific question today. I do that for people who ask me, but usually my question is I just want specific guidance or general guidance. I find that it usually pertains to something that's pretty like going on in my life. So, the architect, we have the horns, which are symbolic for being like channels for divine guidance. But just think about what an architect is. That's someone who takes an idea in their head and they put it down on paper, and then they literally build it like it's a building. We have the eye, which is usually, depending on the context of how an eye is represented. Here, I think we're looking at a third eye, intuition, not like an evil eye, with the pyramid representing what's going to be built. Now we have the path here. So, and notice there's two paths. She's not even on one of them, but that is symbolic in and of itself, that the way for a path to become a path is just simply that people or animals kept walking on it. That's how a path becomes a path. So there are many paths out there. You can either choose to follow ones that are already laid before you, or you have the opportunity to make your own. And then the gift. Now she's sitting there and she's touching her head, and that's very reminiscent of like someone who's like, you think of the psychics or the mediums, and they have that gift, and they often do that. They touch their heads. What I find interesting about this representation is that she doesn't quite look happy. And I think anybody who has like empathy or is empathic or has any kind of clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, we all know that is something that is a gift, but it comes with its troubling like sides that can actually make the person who possesses that gift quite miserable at times. And here, this is Pandora's jar. So, which it was originally a jar in the original mythology. It didn't become a box until much later. And it's like, uh-oh, we've just let it out. So again, when it comes to your gifts, like sometimes you want to let your gift out into the world, and other times that can have repercussions, and sometimes we can almost regret letting our gifts. So this is talking a lot about dreams, building something, direction in life, and using our talents and that gift. And going ahead, I think for my very first reading on video, this is actually kind of like highly accurate, because it is so hard for me to do this. Like this is so scary what I'm doing right now, and the thought that I might actually share this and post it. And I'm very accustomed to being very behind the scenes. I'm a writer, so using written language, not ever putting myself out there, hiding behind others, like pseudonyms, everything. So this is feeling pretty accurate to me right now. And what's also interesting is I haven't started reading reversed cards because I am just really want to get familiar with the upright symbology and meanings. So I'm going to leave these reversed because clearly the deck wants them to be reversed, but the Four of Swords. So, I mean, I love this deck because it's just full of the imagery is just absolutely full. Like, how can you not tell what it's telling you? Like, she's taking a rest, and you see the presence of the heart strung up by these, twigs from the nest. And it's like we've just, and she's dirty and marked up. It is that rest and a safe space after who knows what, something that was very trialing. Now, this card is usually, I say it's the charging ahead card. And the charging ahead really with no plan. Like we see the motorcycle, we see he's like ready to go. He's being led, right? But we don't see where he's going. So does he even know where he's going? So being in reverse, this could mean something along the lines of like maybe pausing, or you're feeling tempted to do this, but there's a reason that you can't, or a reason that you shouldn't, or you're holding back for some reason. And same, the Nine of Cups is usually this glorious like celebration card, in that emotional realm of like just celebrating life is great. Maybe you have cause for that, but again, there's something that is either making it so you can't see it, or you had cause for it and something's happened and you're unable to feel like you're really celebrating. So, and the Magician is, here we go, like Magician, Architect, Magician, Gift. Like the Magician has all of the tools laid out before them. They are in, the hand is up, the hand is down, it's as above is so below. And look at how the hands in the Seven of Pentacles kind of mimic that almost exactly. And here, this is a card of, you're starting to see the fruits of your labor, but so much of the hard work, so much of the growth is actually below the surface. This is a card of patience. So, and the Queen of Swords is always troubling for me in all decks. I don't think there's one deck that the imagery around the Queen of Swords doesn't throw me a little bit. I think what I see here is like, first of all, the sword and being the queen, like the sword is double-edged. So I always look at almost every card that has a sword in it as speaking a little bit to perception and perspective, because it's double-edged. But here she has it sheathed and she's sitting as if she's like the victorious warrior after the battle. So here we have like resting after the battle. So this could be like in the past. So, if we look at this as like in the recent past, we've had an idea that we've begun to start building. The work that's gone into it may have caused a little bit of need to rest, but we have everything we need, and it's just going to take us putting in the work. So there seems to be like a crossroads. Maybe not a crossroads, but like we're in that position of maybe not really seeing the path. Maybe in the past we used to charge ahead and just go after it, but for some reason, like maybe, we can't do that this time. And maybe because we've been working for something for a very long time, and we want to see it come all the way into bloom, but we're going to have to wait. We have to be patient. And coming up ahead of us is like the need to put our gift out there, and so that we can celebrate all of these accomplishments. And we're going to find ourselves actually in this very like, I mean, this is beyond being victorious. This is like, I've won the war. I'm looking out at all my spoils. Ugh, that's my least favorite card of the deck. It creeps me out. I don't like it. I have my own personal reasons, but I just don't like it. So yeah, I think, ooh, okay, this feels pretty straightforward to me though. Like I feel like in the past, we've been wooed maybe very easily, very emotionally swayed. Maybe we've put a lot of emotional investment into what we're building, and that's left us right now. We might be feeling a little on the outside, and even a little bit like this could be quite literally like we're feeling financially poor, but this card in this deck speaks to me a little bit more of like, it's talking about being on the outside, and the key is right there. And she's just so overwhelmed with facing this obstacle that, you know, she's about to give up. I think that's just a further reflection of this card. Like, it's working. It's just not working fast enough. And in the future is coming a little bit of a departure from what we know, and a solo path. Like, we are going to head out solo, and crows and ravens are often symbolically represent like our voice, like singing, like, because they crow, so letting your voice be heard. So we're not only going to like mirroring the gift, like we are going to have to set out away, like on our own, and really trust ourselves and follow ourselves. So I have a lot of these botanical decks. I have a fascination with herbalism and a little bit of ethnobotany fascination. And so I use the decks not only to learn more about the plants, but I also study botany, ethnobotany, herbalism in a way to hopefully get better at recognizing the symbology in these cards on their own. But at this point, I haven't pulled this deck out in a really long time. And I'm not to the point yet where I can immediately recognize the symbology. So this reading felt a little dark to me. Even here, like these cards, like, or have a little bit more darkness in them. We pulled a lot of the darker hues in this deck. And so as bright as this card is, this deck comes with a light, like a dawn guidebook, which is kind of the lighter, more upright, positive readings. And this is the dusk guidebook. And so I'm actually going to read from that today, because that is just feeling like there's a lot of darkness going on, a lot of dark feelings around the situation. And it says, cherry. In the south of England, wild cherry trees are associated with the cuckoo. A common belief in this region says that the cuckoo will continue to sing until it has eaten its fill of cherries thrice over. An abundance of resources means that this is the perfect time to focus on what your body is telling you. What does it need to support it right now? Whether that's a balanced diet or more regular sleep schedule, listen to its needs and let it guide you forward. So that's interesting, because we do have the rest card here. You know, so, but this is still kind of located in the past. And so I'm curious, like that's a very interesting, different message, I feel like, from where this reading was taking us. But, you know, I think what it is telling us, what our body does need, definitely is rest. But I think a little bit of like just listening to it, which it said, like now that I'm looking at the cards, like this card, the Magician, like a little bit of like just listening to itself, to yourself is what's needed right now. So on another botanical deck, this is the Celtic Tree Oracle. So I'm also fascinated by like Celtic history, Druid history. I've come by way of information, then I'm linked to that heritage and in interest to want to learn my own heritage, my own culture, as opposed from studying a lot of others like I have in the past. I've been trying to learn more about Celtic and Druid, and so we have Coed Grove. I'm probably not saying that right. I'm not going to pretend that I know what I don't know, or I don't know how to say things I don't know how to say. But this is another one that I'm still very much a novice. I do not have this knowledge in my head yet. This is knowledge that I still very much have to go and look up. And so for this one, when you receive the Grove in a reading, you are asked to reconnect to what is spiritually meaningful to you and give your gratitude. This is time to consider the sacred and connect with your spirit source. Take time to sit in silence and review your year. So I think this is very much like related to this card of like, this one's talking like literally listen to your body physically. This one is talking about like, go sit in silence. I mean, we have a card here that's telling us, and I mean, even like right here, that's exactly what she looks like she's doing. You know, she's sitting there and reflecting on all that she's done and how she got here. Here, she's following her own voice. Here, she is resting. So that, I think, is another message we're getting here is like the present state that we're in with having to be patient is like we're also needing to be paying attention to our physical needs, our spiritual needs, our mental needs, our emotional needs, or else there's a good chance we're going to end up like that Nine of Cups and we're going to have all these gifts in front of us, but we're not going to really be able to celebrate them. So this is my fairy deck. I actually haven't pulled out my oracle decks in like a long time. So hidden blessings. So, well, I think right here we've got hidden blessings, hidden blessings, hidden blessings, hidden blessings. And that's another one that you're not going to see the hidden blessings if you don't slow down and listen to what's going on with you and your body and everything. You're not going to be able to tap into your gifts. You're not going to know which path to take. So how will you successfully build what you're planning if you're not taking that time? And right here, like I said many times, this whole present line is all about like, you know, being patient, not charging ahead, but looking up and seeing that you're not on the outside, or that if you want to be on the inside, the key is right there. Whatever's on that next side of the door, like the key is right there. You have all the tools. Everything you've gone through has given you the tools to move forward. And yes, you've been wooed a little bit. Maybe you've been emotionally too invested, but you've also taken your period of rest, and there are hidden blessings in the hurt. Like I said, this deck has darkly colored cards and it has very lightly colored cards, and this reading pulled a lot of the darker cards, and notice that this one is very dark, but there's beauty in those hidden blessings. We have a butterfly here, and I think these are supposed to be Luna moths here, which always speak to transformation and metamorphosis. And so in here, we're just, you know, all in all, we're going to let the gift out, and we might have a moment where we regret it, okay? But we're going to let it out, and we're going to follow our voice. And that is how we're going to know whether or not we're following a path or are we forging a path. And then we're going to be able to build those dreams. So thank you for joining me today. I hope if you're interested in learning more about symbology, mythology, folklore, plant lore, herbology, through using cards and then having that study inform your readings of cards, I hope you'll join me for future readings. Thank you.